Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and I was always told I had a voice for radio, so today I am putting down my Nintendo Switch for just a little while to tell you all about the best of X and Y. Now, this is a new set which is coming out in Japan, and I've had a whole bunch of questions from people basically saying, hang on a second, Ross, are we going to get this set, and what does it mean for the game? Well, it's a Japanese reprint set, and it has reprints of a whole bunch of cards. The most exciting thing about this set is the alternate art. So we are, for instance, getting, and this is the best looking card in the set, and I will fight you on this, metaphorically speaking, I'm not actually going to fight anyone, Blacksmith. Look at the art on this card. Maybe this Hex Maniac is more your style. Maybe this reprint of Karen. This reprint of Shauna. There are just some absolutely beautiful cards. I'm partial to this Faull-Art Regirock myself. I do like Regirock. And of course, the most exciting and controversial card in this set, this Faull-Art Shaman. It is beautiful, and we want it, ladies and gentlemen. So, the question is, what does this mean for our format? And are we going to be getting these cards in the UK, US, etc.? Well, for those of you that don't know, I need to give a quick word about the rotation. What happens is that we have a rotation every year after the Pokemon World Championships, which happens in mid to late August. And what that means is that certain sets are no longer legal. So at the moment, every set from Primal Clash onwards, so Primal Clash and any set released later than that, are legal for standard tournament play. Coming in August, we don't know what the rotation's going to be, but it's a very good bet that we are going to lose Primal Clash, Roaring Skies, and Ancient Origins, and we may or may not lose Breakthrough. There's two things at play here. Firstly, Pokemon release 4 sets a year, therefore they like to rotate 4 sets a year, keep roughly the same number of cards in the format. But also, Breakthrough is the start of the Break set with Breakpoint, so it doesn't make a huge amount of sense to rotate Breakthrough and not Breakpoint. We shall see, but it's likely to be Breakthrough or Breakpoint onwards. If I had to put money on it, I'd say Breakpoint, but I don't think anyone's taking bets on this, so it doesn't really matter. And the problem is that we then, of course, lose a whole bunch of cards. By far the biggest card we are going to lose when the format rotates in August is Shaymin EX. Now, this was released in Roaring Skies. We've not seen a reprint, so when the rotation happens in August, we are going to lose Roaring Skies, we are going to lose Shaymin. So, of course, seeing all of these reprints in the best of X and Y, including this Shaymin, has led a whole bunch of people to think, hang on a second, does that mean that this reprint of Shaymin will keep Shaymin in the format moving forward? And the answer is, short answer no, long answer, sit down, make yourself a nice cold beverage. I will explain. Now, Japan has extra sets every now and then, and we've got some of these sets. Best example I can think of at the moment, Double Crisis. This was an extra little set they got in Japan that we got just as little blister packs to buy. You may also remember the Radiant collection that came in Generations and also in Legendary Treasures, and these were also little Japanese sets and how they got released over here. But this is not a little set. This is a big set that contains 188 cards. And when would this be released? Sun and Moon 2, the second Sun and Moon set, is Guardians Rising. This is releasing in May. Our Sun and Moon 3 set, Burning Shadows, is releasing in August. And presumably, our Sun and Moon 4 set is going to be releasing in November. We get our Sun and Moon sets a couple months after Japan. We get our sets every 3 months. We have them in May, August, November, February. This is what happens. We don't have time for an extra 188 card set. Now, some of you at this point might be thinking, hang on a second, Ross, what about Generations? And that's a good point. Generations was an extra set that was released in its own booster packs with a large amount of cards in the UK, US, etc. But this was part of the 20th anniversary Pokemon celebrations, and there were a whole bunch of extra promotional little packs released with Generations boosters inside. As far as we are aware, and I would be very surprised if there was, nothing of this type is currently being planned for the Pokemon trading card game. So I don't think there is any sensible way to release this outside of Japan. And you might be thinking, well, hang on a second, Ross, that's ridiculous. No, it's not ridiculous. Because does anyone remember the Premium Champion Pack? This was released in Japan a year ago. This was released a very long time ago in Japan, and you know what? It never made its way over here. And it contained a reprint of Shaymin EX, which we never got. And the Premium Champions Pack in Japan was a whole reprint set, which had 4 new cards. Beedrill EX, Mega Beedrill EX, and Beedrill Spirit Link, which were released in the Beedrill EX collection, and Wobbuffet Break, which was released in one of the Break collections. We got them as promotional cards. Later on, they were the only new cards in the set. The Premium Champion Pack was never released. And if that Japanese reprint set that had a reprint of Shaymin was never released over here, it makes sense that the new one won't be released over here. Now that does leave us with the question of, well, hang on a second, these awesome new artwork cards, how are they going to be released? And if we get them, won't they keep the cards in the format? And the answer is no. What is overwhelmingly likely to happen, and bearing in mind I don't know, but we can look at the history of past releases and how Pokemon have handled cards in the past to decide about this. I do want to remind you that when Lysander's Trump card came out, everybody said they're not going to ban it. Pokemon haven't banned cards for years. And then they did ban it. And then they banned Shiftry. So they can change their mind. But what is likely to happen is these will be reprinted with X and Y promo numbers. So think about the new Sharpedo and Camerupt packs we're getting. Reprints of Sharpedo and Camerupt, new releases of Mega Sharpedo and Mega Camerupt, but instead of having Sun and Moon promo numbers, they have X and Y promo numbers, which means they will be reprinted out much earlier than we would usually expect new promos to be rotated. Well, that's the way it's going to be, unfortunately. It really does seem like that is the way we are going. And this is a good thing. I love the Blacksmith card. It's beautiful. But do we really want to be going with the same cards over and over and over again? Do we really want Shaymin to be dominating the format for years to come? I'm not entirely convinced that we do, ladies and gentlemen. Now, obviously, it's upsetting for those of you that have put a whole bunch of money into getting the Shaymins, but it's nice to have a little bit of a change. This is not a video about Shaymin EX and whether Shaymin EX is in fact a card that we should have in the format or any of that. This isn't that video. This video is explaining to you about the best of X and Y and how it's likely to impact us over here. Now, if the best of X and Y were reprinted over here, it would be absolutely huge. Blacksmith would come back into the format, making Volcanion decks much, much better than they are at the moment, really catapulting them up to top tier deck status even more than they are at the moment. Shaymin EX would be reprinted, which would increase the availability of Shaymin. It would drive the price of this particular Shaymin up and up and up and up and up and up and up because everyone would want it in their deck. But it would mean that Shaymin was around for a lot longer, which would keep the format faster, rather than forcing us to find alternatives for Shaymin, as we're going to have to do in August. But you know what? It would help existing decks, and it would keep existing decks around. And I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, I might be completely off the reservation here. I don't want that. I want new decks, new strategies. I like making videos on this channel about new decks. I don't want to have to make a new Volcanion video every 3 months. I don't want to make a new Decidueye Vileplume video every 3 months. What I really want to do is every couple of weeks make a new video, or every couple of months at the most, a new video about an exciting new deck which is coming out. And I don't want to be repeating the same things over and over again. Variety, as they say, is the spice of life. We're not going to be getting these cards as proper sets. Maybe we get them as promos. Maybe a couple of these get thrown into Burning Shadows. Either way, the overwhelming likelihood is that for Pokemon, They are going to be just promotional, and maybe something like N does get in Burning Shadows or a later set, but only along with a proper reprint of N when Pokemon want to keep N in the format. I can't think of any other situation that is going to happen than that. No guarantee that I'll be right, of course. This is just reckless speculation based on what's happened in the past, but you know what? I tend to think it's quite reliable. Now, you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen. There is a comment section if you disagree with anything I've said. If you have anything to add, go nuts. Be nice. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Ensure that you are currently following me on Twitter @TheWassy. And the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.